Good evening, racers. What is happening? We hope everyone's doing well. It's Tuesday night, 7:30. We got Kenny with us and Drew Singer, CEO of Nitro Pro Racing. We are Warren Campbell. What's going on? Warren Campbell is our New England Reds manager, right? Reds Racing manager. So, hi, Warren, Cody. What's happening? We got some big things we want to go over tonight, as well as the next race coming up, the Vermont State Champs, and what's going on this weekend. Charlie Blanchard, 7:30-ish. Yeah, 7:30-ish. We were a little late. We were talking. So Hector Perez, looks like we got a bunch of people going on, but lots of good stuff in the works. I guess we'll get right into it. The last couple of weeks we've been telling you there's going to be an announcement coming, and we're ready to tell you. We haven't got all the stuff in yet, but we've got enough to say let's do this. So Drew from Nitro Pro is here with us. I've set out on a mission to find the best RC racing products that we can find for racers, and what's out there, what's on the cutting edge. So I'm trying to text Mason to bring me a charger as my laptop's dying. So we met Drew at P&B this year. Never really heard of Nitro Pro. Maybe had heard of it in passing, and it was huge at Psycho Nitro. And slowly we started following it, and Adam had contacted Drew and got us set up with him, and we started following like the pros who are using it, JTP Fuels, and it was pretty remarkable. We're like, we gotta carry this stuff. So we've been carrying Nitro Pro for a little while. But I called Drew and I said, man, I want to do a collaboration with you, and I want to brand some stuff with our stuff, and bring our local racers in New England and realistically anywhere in the United States some good products. So here we are. Thanks, Drew, for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure.
So Drew, what kind of got Nitro Pro started for you? Like, what do you race yourself?
Yeah, so I used to, until I, like everything else, I turned my hobby into my job. And so I've just got this, unfortunately, I'm self-deprecating, and I'm just like, if I find something that I feel like I can, that needs attention, I just have to fix it. And so I found like there was a lot of things that I didn't like, and how they were, and how people were running their business as far as, in the RC community. It seemed like there was like this race to the bottom of the barrel, contract customer. I hear that term a lot, and everybody just trying to undercut everybody, and then there's no, like, I like competition, but you can't get good competent products that way if everybody's, if everything's price based. right? So it's like, there's no margins for anybody to grow anything. The hobby shops can't make any money, so they start to close. Everybody's trying to get these racers on their team, so it's sign everybody that you can, and basically it's just, again, it's a race to the bottom of the barrel when you're trying to sell stuff based off of cost and instead of the performance and the competency of the company that is producing the products that are actually going to last, and the company's going to be around for a while.
Right. And I think that's kind of what drew me to you. I mean, we've talked very extensively. I mean, you've called me at 11 o'clock at night to talk about stuff. And
Yeah.
I'm that same way. Everybody's like, oh, it's past 5 o'clock. What are you doing business for? And I'm like, if it's business, well, let's do it. Let's make things better. Let's do it right. And that's really what I've enjoyed. And I mean, you and I have been working together on this project for what, a month or so, maybe,
Yeah.
just about, maybe a little longer. Um, so, and I respect that. And, we've had some good collaborations with some ideas that we can do. And so we got some of our product. Some of it got tied up in tariff land, border crossings type stuff. So we're waiting for the rest of that stuff to come in. But we got some cool things to show you. So
Yeah.
one of them is the Nitro Pro servos, right?
Yes.
Incredible servo. We haven't launched these servos yet, but there's a select people that knew about them, and we sold 4 in the past weekend. So for me, that was fantastic. And one person tried them this weekend, loved it. Chris Eldridge, actually, if Chris is watching, but he runs some pretty high end servos normally, and he wanted to switch. I'll show you the servo. So this is the 600 servo. And what drew him to it was, one, the graphics, and then I talked to him about the performance of it, and he tried it and absolutely loved it. So that was a really good feeling to have the first weekend. I mean, we literally got them in Friday, I think, from you, Drew, and the race started Saturday, so it was good. TQ Chef's on here. TQ Chef's our New England race promoter. He promotes all the tracks in New England and events and what's going on for racing. So he's on here. He says, great servos, running the JTP-RC version. And so is the whole crew. Mike Barkus. Mike Barkus is, we call him the mayor of RC in New England. Drew, best servo in the business.
Oh, we appreciate that.
So, and I actually, I was like, man, I got to try one of these. So we've been building a hobby shop crawler. We've been getting big into the crawling scene around here. And James Legg built us a VRD carbon kit, and I had to put the servo in that today. I don't know if you guys can see it, but so I'm super excited to be able to try that. I tried it on the floor at the hobby shop today. It seemed to work really good. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, Cody, I don't know if you've looked at servos in general lately, but servo prices have gone way up, and like a big thing with pricing is quality, right? You know, you pay,
You definitely get what you pay for.
right. You could be plastic gears or white metal gear servos, stuff like that. We're going to get into the warranty of the Nitro Pro stuff, because I think that's where not only the quality and the customer service, but the warranty. Drew is a fantastic guy. I can tell you that one of our team drivers, Bill Sagu, has a product of theirs that he has warranted before, and it was no questions asked. He's like, they literally handed me a new one, and I walked away. It wasn't what'd you do, how old is this, anything like that. And that says a lot about a company that's willing to stand behind their product.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, and I know that Drew and we both have looked at pricing of servos lately, and I can tell you that the high-end servos that we sell, these are actually a little bit better price. So, gotcha. So yeah, so that's the 600 servo. We got a awesome state-of-the-art new product coming out, right, Drew? You got coming in the Epic servo. There it is.
I've got it right here. So this is our this is our, and unfortunately, until you get it in your hands, you can't really. You can only get so much. Like you feel like that. All of these cuts. So if you've ever had a servo where normally people put the heat sinks in and the straps go all the way around, that depth is actually the cuts on these. So it was really, really hard to machine them. But what we did is this is where the motor lies. Basically, everything over in this side of it is just electronics. There's nothing that actually gets any heat. And so, what I wanted to do is do something a little bit different and actually get a surface area that will actually wick heat away. So these cuts are actually really, really deep, and I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but they are as deep as a normal line that you would see on like a ProTech or any other servo that has a heat sink built into it. So they're really, really deep cuts. So it took an incredible amount of machining to get that. We also still have, well, and we did that just to do it. So anywhere where you see red is actually a really deep cut. And so like the hood on our Reaper is, actually milled into the case. So we've got some really cool milling. We've upgraded our motor. And then we've put all of our good stuff that we've had for all of our iterations up into this point into this servo. So, even our chamfered edges, everything that we've done with this is done with a purpose. So at the top, you'll see you can see how it's tapered on the top. A lot of guys, something will happen where, maybe your screw loosens out on your servo horn. And when you have a flat edge, it can get caught on your servo in the middle of a race. So what we've done is, again, everything is to get you through your race, be the most robust servo you can have, and eliminate DNFs as much as possible. So that chamfer in the top is so if that nut comes down, where we've all seen it, people have those Mars across the top of their servo. This won't give it a ledge to, catch on. You'll be able to, most times, unless it backs all the way out, you'll be able to finish your race, and that chamfer will save you. I mean, it'll scratch the top of the servo, but oh well, it's going to scratch it anyways. It doesn't have to be pretty to be functional at that point. But yeah, so again, everything's got a purpose. The heat sink that's built in around the motor, with our new motor, it's going to be at some point they're already too strong and already too fast for what most people need. So we just wanted to set a standard of what's going to be the best drop in, where you're going to actually, have a more usable, we're going to take some speed out of it. A lot of guys take a lot of speed out of our servos. So this is going to be in my opinion, the most culmination where you will take some speed out of it if you want to slow it down. But this is going to be a really, really good just drop in servo with, 780 ounces of torque at a 0.07, which for me, I feel is like that's the perfect mix. The point one, point zero, that 0.1 area is really where I feel like most people kind of live with their servos, and the specs on the case aren't always telling the entire story. You have to have torque to be able to get the speed. And so a lot of people just rely on that speed number, and your servo can be really, really fast, but if it can't oscillate any weight, it's going to be way slower than something that's stronger that has a slower speed rating. So we kind of try to keep ours true in that sense, where the torque is high enough at an 8.4 that you're going to get that torque and you're going to get that actual speed. So a lot of people, when they get ours, they end up turning the servo down, which is fine by most by most standards. I'd rather it be true to that. People get it and they're like, "Wow, this is crazy fast. Let's turn it down," and have that luxury of seeing it. But then again, you also want to be able to sell servos, and a lot of people really rely on what they see on paper, especially when they're getting into it because they just don't know.
Right. Now that servo there, is that programmable?
Yes.
I was gonna ask
So,
that.
yeah. So our servos, all of our servos are programmable. This series of servo and actually all of our Pro Series servos coming out from this point on will have Nitro Pro programming in them. So when you get the dongle, if you decide that you want it programmed, you'll get the dongle, and the dongle will be Nitro Pro. It'll pull up all of our specs. If you want to do lower latency, our the low latency, like the Futaba and the Sanwa, they're both capable of that low latency in um, both of those transmitters to match up with the whatever it is, the T-Fast or the SSR, that both of those transmitters have. So they are low latency capable, but they already come out of the box low latency at the hertz that they work at. So most people will never be able to tell whether it's programmed or not. Um, I've done blind tests with some pros, and it's, to me, in my experience, it's kind of been a placebo effect. You can tell them, "Hey, try this. It's programmed," and they try it, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's so much better." And it's like, I didn't do anything,
Right.
right? So, but we do offer it. Our pros will be having a signature series, which will be pre-programmed to their settings. That will be available through our pros. Basically, what we're doing with that program is to support our pro drivers, going to be Dakota and Mason starting out. That they will have a signature series Epic Servo that will only be able to be bought through them, and then companies like Dynamic, Limitless, Beach, our major retailers will have an opportunity to buy a limited quantity of those. We will not sell them throughout the year. They will only be dropped. So if you guys remember what like MX Servos does, or not MX Servo, but MX Racing, where they had their engines, and like Tebow had their engine, and Mayfield and Spencer, they all had their own engine from MX that they would be able, that the only way you could get them is through the driver at that drop. And that's how they compensated their drivers um, throughout the year. So we're going to follow a similar pattern to that, but what we're going to do is we're going to allow our good retailers to be able to get a limited quantity of those, so they can also capitalize on that and keep their doors open. I mean, 10 of those servos with the margins that we try to give our retailers, so they can, the hobby shops are, that's where everything starts for most of us. And I think a lot of the industry's forgotten about, these brick and mortar hobby shops that are struggling. They'll be able to make some good return having a limited edition servo that they're only going to be able to get, and that's it. So when Mason sells out of his 25 or 30, whatever he's going to have, they're going to be able to come to our good distributors, and you're not going to have to discount anything, and you're going to have the servo that is also going to go to paying Mason's salary and keeping these pros out there, so we can have the evolution of the products that we need to have, because these are the guys who test and tune everything and really are the ones who advance the
The
industry.
industry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. I can't wait. I know we've been chomping at the bit for those, and but they're on their way. So
Yep. Hopefully next week they'll be shipping. I just got the clearance orders yesterday.
what else we got? We got Nitro Pro batteries.
Yeah.
That's another big thing. That's our battery right there. That's a 6500 4S battery.
Hmm.
Also comes in a 5500 as well, low pro pack for the buggies. Um, I had a tough time with this because I've been programmed for so long now to run LIHV batteries, and I've just become normal to it. And after talking with Drew after many hours, and LIHV is not always the answer. Uh, and we have a special project we've been working on with Drew, and Kenny did some testing on something else that we've been working on, and it's actually lighter than the LIHV battery. And then the diameters were a little bit smaller. And like Drew said, you've got some of the best top pros in the country running your stuff, and they're on the podium with it. And I
Yeah,
know
there's nothing we offer. Yeah, there's nothing we offer that's going to limit anybody from being able to compete. And my experience, I think, and if you look at the experience across the board, the money that you spend on LIHV batteries to the performance that you get, you know, you can do that all in your car, especially any of the 10 scale guys. When you're running that stuff tip top to the max, that LIHV, in my experience, in my opinion, doesn't really offer you anything other than more fade throughout your begin. You get a good punch at the beginning, and then if you're operating in this kind of middle where you set in and you get comfortable, that to the 90% of us, that initial pop that the LIHV gives us makes the hard card a little harder to handle, and then you're fighting fade towards the end. And so for us, we just wanted to have something that was going to be super consistent and linear, and not have any huge peak at the beginning, and not have any fade during the entire run. And so that's kind of the culmination of the batteries that we offer. That's why we offer a really, really small line. We've got two 4S batteries. We've got one 2S battery at this point, shorty. And then for the guys who are running split packs, we have two, one for truck, because it was really, really requested. And it's a hard thing to kind of train your customer to, know that, like, hey, you can run this 6500 in your truck. It's been on every major podium at arena tracks, which is going to drain way more battery than anything else. Jared's one. I mean, like, we've been on every major podium in the United States on these huge arena tracks with our 6500 and had zero issues. So a lot of the customers that are going to have an issue running through 6500 milliamps of battery, there's something else going on that they need to address if they're pulling that many amps out.
Yeah, and Mike Barkus just said a 6500, which is the 4S pack Drew has in his hand, will do a 10-minute main in a truck.
All day.
And that's all day, and that's a testament to it. I run a 7500, and you come off the track and you still got 50% of your battery left. So
Mhm.
realistically, we're carrying around all that extra power for no reason.
And it's a lot of extra weight, and it's more money.
Right. Yeah. Mason, my son Mason, ran the 5500 this weekend. He had one of his normal batteries go bad, and Kenny would not let him put it back into the car.
No, yeah.
And so we put the 5500 into his buggy, and he started 8th and came in first with it in the A main. So I don't know if it was all the battery, but he was very happy with it. He keeps telling me, "I love that battery. I love that battery." So.
Well, taking weight out of the 8 scale cars is a really, it can be really, really helpful. I remember when I was racing pretty regularly, I would go in. I had an SMC pack, a 4500 low profile SMC pack that I used in my 8 scale buggy. And that was like my main battery. I used my heavier batteries through my qualifying. And then for my 10-minute main, I would run a 4500 pack in my 8 scale buggy. And just depend, especially on our track here, most of the time the conditions are, we have a clay track. But during the summer, it's nice to have that, not have all of that heat getting generated by having, this extra weight in the buggy. And then once the track's a little blown out, or even if you have high grip, you can lower the car, the center of gravity is lower. So either way, whether it's lighter and you get to, that car gets to, move around a little bit, and it'll be a little bit freer, and articulate a little bit more in the high grip areas. But when our track gets blown out, I loved having that light, because it was almost like it was on top of everything, and it would really just make the car a lot more enjoyable to drive. And you could really punch it in the places where guys were having to come out of a corner, you see when the car's lighter, especially in any 10 scale, that car's lighter, it's gonna come up a lot quicker. So you can, run up to the face of your jumps and articulate the car a lot better in the air. When you're downsiding things, it just makes everything to me a little bit more manageable than having something that's super, super heavy. So balancing it out, I really like to run a lightweight pack and even in the 8 scale.
Yeah. We're excited about it. Drew and I were talking, crawling's become a big thing in our area. So we've been talking about, maybe Drew already has a crawler servo, but maybe, we want to hear feedback from the racers. If you guys have something that you feel like is the industry's missing, or you're missing, or you'd like to see, or you can, come up with a good idea, bring it up to us, because we want to see what we can do. And bringing, crawler servos to market, I think, is going to be on our list for sure. So if James and Ellen are listening, and Chris Eldridge, if you guys want to see something in the crawler world, let us know. But tons of different batteries, right? We got them for transmitter receivers, right?
Yeah, we've got the 2S. So those are LIHV. Because the amp draw is so low, our servos are regenerative. So you'll see if you actually take your either your throttle or your steering servo and you wiggle it back and forth, your transmitter will turn on and your MyLaps will start blinking. So they have a really, really low amp draw, and they're also regenerative. So you can run. I've ran 2 full races and not charged my receiver pack. That on a side note, but those are LIHV to get the most power that you can out of the servo, and the amp draw is so low that you're not really seeing the issues. I feel like that is a good, that's a good place for LIHV. These huge draws, and in drawing down the power in an LIHV, it's just the cells aren't there, and they just don't. They just, the chemical composition of them is just not up. Doesn't matter who it is. I don't know how many white carbon batteries I went through before I just threw my hands up and I was like,
Yeah.
they're every single one of them's puffed. My ProTech batteries that I spent $160 a piece on 4 years ago for my 10 scale stuff, put them in storage, never fast charged them, put them in an ammo can in storage, and put them off. By the time I pull them out in 2 weeks, every single one of them's puffed up. And it's just been my experience, even when we were offering the 4S and 2S LIHVs, the most returns that we had, because again, we stand behind our product. So we want to see people break things so we can make adjustments. And those were, and then it's like you weigh the benefit. What's the benefit? What benefit are we getting from, a 69 or 7,200 pack? That is the only difference between that is the voltage, right? The milliamps is going to be the milliamps is the same. The added voltage is what gives you the extra milliamp. So the cell size is almost the same, but for whatever reason, the graphene cells, no matter which ones you get, in my experience, has always been the same. There's always an issue. They just don't have the stable, chemical structure to last all these cycles that these guys are putting on them. And for me, I'd just rather have a really robust, battery. And if you're the guy who cares about, the milliamp, or you think that your car is ever going to pull 100 and, 100C, you might not be our customer. If you're going to believe what we've got out in the field, then, that's where we try to excel is, on the ground in the field. And if you're just going to tech spec everything and, oh, I can't run it if it's not 160C, when, if your car's pulling over 40C, your ESC's on fire. It's just one of those things you can't make everybody happy. So we just try to do the best we can and, educate our customer.
Mike Barkus, you and I talked about this the other day. Any chance on changing the top of the battery to flat as opposed to the drop and needing a high shoulder bullet.
Yeah.
You and I already talked about it, and we're gonna
take care of
bring
it.
in. Yeah, we're gonna fix it. So we're getting some questions. TQ Chef, what about warranty on batteries and the servos? Can we talk a little bit about
Yeah.
warranty?
Yeah, so we're gonna get if you guys have been following the Nitro Pro page, if you're not, you should. But I've hired a social media company, so we've revamped our website and we've got our guys going out and shooting product at all of the races to hopefully be more informative. Putting out posts and newsletters is something that we're starting to do. So we will soon we'll have a comprehensive kind of bullet point drop down so everybody knows how the warranty is going to work on everything. So it's pretty simple for me, but the gist of it is across the line on our servos, every single one of our servos has a lifetime gear warranty. So it doesn't matter whether you're buying the FKN 500 Fast, which is our original servo, that where we started, and basically our manufacturer that manufactures a lot of servos for everyone. We took it to a point where it wasn't economical for them to do the changes across their line. Which is what we did. AGF Servos is a great company. They make a great product, and we took their product across the line and made some pretty significant changes. So they're a lot more robust than they were when they started with us. And then we just took it to another level where it wasn't economical for them to be able to do it across their line, and thus we have started creating our own servo. But to go back to it, lifetime warranty on all the gears. So that is across the board. Anybody who has any kind of lash, or you're building a new car, you're building a car for your kid, and you just want to get the servos freshened up, you can send it to us. We'll replace the gears. It's free. You just have to do the online return service through our website. It's $15. That $15 is just to cover shipping back to you. So we replace the gears at any time for free for the life of the servo. So that's across the line. Doesn't matter which servo it is.
And I don't think anybody else is doing that.
No, they're not. And the one thing about it is we don't really change that many gears. So it's not a problem for people to send it in. It usually takes at most 2-week turnaround time. Just depending if we're racing, what's going on at the shop, but 90% of the time it's a 10 to 14 day turnaround time from the time we receive it to the time you're going to get it back. And we'll at any point do that. For our entry level servo, the 500 Fast, we only have one. That is going to be our, basically our entry level. It's $110, I believe. The original servo, that you can easily tell it's not curved or chamfered and doesn't have any of the millwork that our Pro Series does. That's going to have a 6-month warranty. So anything happens to it within 6 months, we'll take care of it. And then after that, we're really good about working with our customer. If anybody for any reason doesn't like the product that they've got, or feels at any point that they didn't get what they paid for, we'll work with you. And we don't want anybody being unhappy. It's not really worth it for us. I'd rather give you your money back. So at any point with any of our product, if you don't feel like you feel like you got gypped, you can call me. My number's on the website. We're going to take care of you in the best way possible.
And that says a lot, in my opinion.
All of our retailers are told the same thing. So especially if you've got a retailer that owns a track, any of our guys, if you have a problem, it's take care of the customer and ask questions later. So, if you have a failure of one of our products, all of our retailers have been told to take care of the customer at the race. Let's follow up afterwards. If it's something that's out of warranty, that retailer will keep that product, and we will and we'll compensate them on the back end. and then you buy the servo. You know, if you've had a servo that you've known you have for 3 years and it's out of warranty and it fails, they can hand you a new one and we can discuss it afterwards. If it's a gear failure, we'll repair it. If it's an electronic issue, then just go ahead and buy the new servo from the retailer. And again, it's really easy to work with. It's a phone call. I'm usually readily available. Anybody who carries our product has been told if it's you'll know if it's a gear. Most people know if they've got a gear failure. If it's an electronic failure, all of the servos have a date on the bottom of them to give you an idea of when they were manufactured. And so everybody can look at it and say, hey, this servo might be 2 years old. Because one of the other things that we do that nobody else does is we warranty the product, not the person. So I don't care if somebody gave you a servo as a gift or you ordered it from somewhere else. Like, we're just going to go by the date code in the bottom. And if it's within the year on the Pro servos, you're going to get a replacement. So I don't need a proof of purchase or anything like that. If it's within 12 months on the bottom of the servo, we're going to take care of it no matter who bought it, how you got it. It came in a car from somebody else. You're the fourth owner. It doesn't matter to us. So we stand behind our product. And then the Pro series, or the Epic series, this new Epic servo is going to have a lifetime warranty on it. It's going to be a no hassle. There will be probably some stipulations on, like not modifying the cord or having any kind of damage, on, that would cause it to be an electrical issue.
Run it over with your car or something, or
right. Well, and we even have that. So I haven't quite figured it out. Like, we have a 12-month no hassle. And that means if your car catches on fire, or you run it into a lake, or your wife gets mad at you and runs it over with her actual car, like, we'll replace it. We've had one guy who had a lipo fire and his car caught on fire. We handed him a new servo. And fortunately, it wasn't one of our batteries, but
Right.
Either way, we took care of it. We do have customers that run their cords too close to the spur, or don't run them correctly in their battery tray, and have have screwed it up that way. So we'll probably keep that across the board. And then after the 12 months, just to make sure, like, we don't have guys like cutting the cord and sending it in. We haven't had any experience with that, but just to mitigate that, we'll probably do something like, hey, as long as the servo's intact and it's not completely destroyed after the 12 months, we will replace it, no questions asked.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
That makes it worth it right there.
Yeah, so it'll be a full lifetime warranty.
And I like the idea when we were talking about it. You put the chamfers on the side that needed it, right? So most servos, you're going to see a heat sink band around the whole thing. You focused it to where it needed it and not to where it didn't need it.
Well, and like even on the bottom, they're chamfered, because a lot of the chassis now, to get the weight down low, they've got cutouts for the servos to sit, and depending on how wide your servo is, a lot of the servos actually hit the sides of those, of that relief that they cut into the chassis for them. So with our chamfers in the bottom, you really don't get a lot of direct contact with the chassis. It's one thing that a lot of people overlook, and it's a really good way to screw up a servo, is to have that servo sitting directly on a chassis, and taking all the impact of every brunt. The board is in the bottom of this thing, so that's a lot of impact over and over again. So we've tried to mitigate that by easing the edges on all of our servos and just cleaning it up and making it a little bit more compact.
There's a good tip for you guys. Everyone look at your servos and make sure they're not contacting the bottom of your chassis. I know I run HB, and you have to put a shim under the servo to get it up off the chassis, because if not, it bottoms out on it.
Yeah, you definitely don't want it resting on the chassis, putting shims underneath it. And the Epic, I don't know that I told you this, but I guess I'll tell you now. So the Epic Servo comes with a servo horn, a custom servo horn that I designed, and then it comes with custom machined installation screws that are shanked. So like the ones that you would buy from like JT Bearings or any of these other companies, they're going to come with the 4 screws that are going to set this in so you have a solid mount and you don't have any movement in it. You know, a lot of the times that people put those, you still can if you want to put those like plastic, those plastic rubber tabs on them. But ours is going to come with the machine screws that are going to lock this into place, and so it'll be really easy to put a couple shims underneath it to get it off the chassis. And then our horn that comes with them, if you guys have ever seen the Mugen horn that's adjustable, so ours is adjustable, but it's also double splined. So the flat part on the top, you can flip it over if you're one of the guys who runs their servo horn flat and doesn't need it to articulate over the servo, kind of like I think Losi may have that on the side where you actually run the servo on the flat side. So basically you can flip it up or down, and it's double adjustable on both sides.
Nice.
So it's a really, really cool servo horn.
That's awesome. What's the warranty on the batteries?
So the battery is going to be a 90-day warranty. And really on the battery, we don't have a ton of markup in them. It is not, we do servos and fuel really, really well. I know I've told you this. Our batteries, I feel, are, the top in the industry. I think that there is other really, really good batteries out there. A lot of our customers aren't going to see the benefit of per se, like our battery over anything else. And that's just my experience. I think there's a lot of, SMC makes a really good battery, like I talked about before. Gens Ace makes a really, really good battery. So for me, I really push our servos and our fuel. Our batteries are really, really good. Our top drivers are the guys who have like a certain level of expectation of their product at all times. It's really good for them. But the guy who flips over, 5 times in a race, that battery's not going to make a big difference for him. I'd say save the money, go to races, spend it on entries and spend it on tires. Get track time with the little bit of extra money that you can save, potentially on a battery. We're going to stand behind it, but it's 90 days and really it's only if it drops a cell. Yeah. So, if it drops a cell, it's going to drop a cell really, really quick. And after 90 days, because guys are just all over the place with the batteries and the things that they do to them, it's just we just don't have the capacity to be able to eat. I mean, to warranty one battery, we really have to sell like 5 or 6 to make up for the cost of the actual battery. So our servos, what we've done is we've said, all right, what can we offer? And we know what our fail rate is. How are we going to differentiate ourselves? So what is our value proposition going to be with what we're asking for our servo? And so we've, for us, it's, hey, everybody puts in a little bit on the front end. Still, I feel far less than our competition as far as what we have to offer. I feel like our Pro Series is up there with any of the Sanwas or the Futaba 500s or 700s that are, $220, $250. Like any of those servos, our servo is going to be, I feel, better than those. But our manufacturing cost, it isn't that great to where we can't say, all right, what are we going to give back to our customer? And that is that, if you spend the money with us, you're going to get somebody who's going to stand behind their product regardless. And so that's our value proposition moving forward, because at any point, the servo only needs to be so fast. It only needs to be so strong. We're going to make it look cool and we're going to innovate where we can, but our fail rate's under 1%. So regardless whether it's the customer's fault, our fault, I don't differentiate between the two. I just look at our common failures and see if it's something that we can actually fix. And for us, we've gotten to a point where our common failure is nothing that we can address. Out of you know, the 3,000 servos we sell a year, we get probably 30 back. And of those 30, 10 of them are customer fault. 10 of them are, you know, hey, I just got one, it's DOA or something electronic failed in it. And then 10 of them might be something where you can say, you know, this is a common failure. Can we fix it? Is it worth fixing? And to us at right now, we haven't found anything that's worth fixing. I would rather just take that, you know, that 20% or 30% of whatever it is of our common failures and just hand you a new servo. It ends up working out better for the customer and works out better for us, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel for, you know, for every failure and not even know if it's going to fix, you know, because we have to order 500 of these at a time. So, you know, $60,000 a rep for, you know, to order each servo, you know, to do, you know, to add an extra $10 to each servo to, you know, try to fix something that is a rare occurrence just doesn't make sense. And then pass that on to the customer. Just rather give you a new servo if it happens.
Yep. We got a bunch of questions on here. Matt Trogan commented, he says, Drew the man called me with an out of the box CT3, and he called me while he was opening the case, figured out what happened. Out of 1,000 servos, this was the only the second failure. Will RC talk about customer support? We did talk about it. Will, you maybe weren't on here, but you know, it's one thing that drew us to Nitro Pro and wanting to really dive in with them is you know, the customer support, in my opinion, is top notch, and that's what we're trying to do here at DPRC, is bring you good customer service rather than just selling you a product and letting you walk away and never seeing you again.
100% satisfaction guaranteed. That's our customer. What does our customer deserve? That's our mantra. You can spend your money anywhere. What does our customer deserve?
You know, a lot of us don't have endless pocketbooks to be buying RC, so when we do spend the money, we want a good product that's gonna last. And you know, you work hard for your money and you put it into your RC car and you take pride in it. And you know, I think it's really good. Will says, I meant that they do have great customer support. So. Oh, I get what he's saying. He put talk about customer support exclamation point.
Yeah.
There's one other product that you carry, and I don't know if anybody saw the comment a few comments ago, but Jared Tebow is on here with us. And
hey Jared.
So he's on the question and answer. So we got some big news coming with Jared. But Nitro Pro Fuel. Let's talk about Nitro Pro Fuel a little bit, because that's been the hot product lately for us.
Yeah, we've really seen an uptick in our fuel sales. I've never really pushed our fuel. It's always been it's like Home Depot sheetrock. You know, it's one of those things that they lose money on, but they make money on the screws and all the other stuff. So fuel's just never been. We have the best fuel on the market for sure, but it's just never been. It's really, there's not a lot of money in it either, and it's really subjective. But this year has been really good. We've seen it grow every year since we kind of got with Jared. Dean originally bought the Nitro Pro's been around forever, but Dean, my partner, bought Nitro Pro from Jimbo, and this was I want to say probably 10 years ago, before I was involved in it, and I started selling the fuel, and then was like, hey, I've got some product ideas that I want to do, brand them under Nitro Pro, and that's kind of how I got involved. But we have our fuel, you know, we use Klotz oils. We've got a really unique blend. Everybody gets their methanol and nitromethane from the same place. Our methanol is made here in the U.S. The nitromethane is from overseas. You can't get nitromethane produced in the United States. It's been regulated out by the EPA. Unfortunately, it's the one product that keeps us from actually having, because it's made here, our fuel's mixed here. We mixed it ourselves for years. Now we have a manufacturer that mixes it for us. But obviously using our blend and in the Klotz oils. But again, it's that one material that keeps us from having a putting the US, that US
US
label
stamp
on it.
on it.
Yeah. But Jared was running our fuel, and we had an opportunity, said, hey, we're starting to do that. We did this JTP servo. And Jared, trying to grow the JTP brand, and like what we're doing, trying to do collaborations with each other. I've said, hey, let's see what world champ Jared Tebow has and how he would change our, because he's the guy when you want something that's really you want to know, like super specific, like really, really like the only word is anal retentive about every little detail. And it's good when you're trying to make the best products that you can. I mean, he's really the reason that our servos are as good as they are. His standard was pro level use for a year with a set amount of lash, and no other company in the industry does that. Most companies on the pro side tell their guys to change out their servos every 4 to 6 months. So quarterly, they're sending their guys new servos to switch out. At my experience, and then I've also heard every 6 months at the longest, that I've heard some servo companies say, hey, that's when you want to switch it out. So our guy, he was like, I want people to be able to use it for a year. And that's why you see our servos last so long, because 1 year of use is most people's 5 year of use. Even if you're racing once or twice a month, because these guys are out on the track 4 or 5 days a week, hammering it all the time. And so that was our standard. We met that standard. And then coming to the fuel, we do blind tests. We've had, Drake, Lutz, everybody in the industry's used our fuel at some point or tested our fuel. And so we do a lot of blind tests where, we sent Jared 4 different jugs with 4 different mixes on it. And I'll tell you this is how honed in this guy is. It was 3 grams. Like literally 3 grams. So if you were to weigh 3 grams of a gallon of castor, like a cap full of castor, he got it down to like within those 3 grams on either side, which is, it's almost insignificant in a gallon. He chose the same blend, like 3 or 4 different times. So we'd go with a wide spectrum and then hone it in, a couple grams on one side, a couple grams on the other. And every single time he chose this one blend. And it was funny because he was like, how do I, him and Dean were having a conversation because Dean's the mixologist. And he was like, how do I know that this was the one that I chose every time? And he was like, pull the label off and look at the back side of it. And he wrote the blend on the back side of the label. And so, he really did. This was kind of this perfect blend where he took our standard blend and really just dissected it to the gram and came out with something that I feel, again, is the best on the market. We have a special synthetic that we use that has a really high dilution rate. And so it's got a really, really good film rate. You're not going to get any buildup. These carbon flaking. You'll be able to pull our motor apart after 5 gallons of use, and you'll see you'll have this beautiful golden hue over everything. And it once it impregnates in the metals, because it's got such a high dilution rate, it really just offers a superior protection of your motor. And with that little bit of caster and the special synthetic that we use that doesn't burn off like the Technoplate that everyone else uses in the industry, you could literally just run our synthetic and you're going to be good even if you mess up a tune. So we're also want a product that our customer can use, where like you get, let's say like a Testman blend, or something that's really, really hot. You screw up a tune and your motor's, your motor's gone. You can lose a motor in a race not having those additives in there. And again, we've won on every single major podium. We've been on every major podium in the United States with our blend. You'll see lower temps, longer run times, better compression, and your motor's just going to last longer.
I know Mason started running it several gallons ago, and he loves it now. So we've been selling a ton of it. How much is it a gallon of it?
So we're going to go to 49. I think that's what we decided on. I talked to you about that. We haven't raised our price in forever. And we, again, it's all to try to get our distributors to be able to make some money. I'm very open with my business. We pay 30, we're around $30 a gallon to produce this stuff. So, for us, we want our distributors to be able to make some money. I think $19, to some of these guys, it's going to keep their doors open, and it's
Plus
not a lot. Right. Yep.
How much the freight bill on the last order we just got, I think, was $400 and something to ship the fuel. So you've got to take that into account.
You've got to spend $2,000 to make a couple $100. So, buy the fuel from your local guy. That's what I say. Let them make some money, keep the doors open, keep the tracks running. Again, nobody's killing it. It's not like we're paying $5 a gallon for the stuff. It's exceptionally expensive to make. And then just even at our level, to buy the material to even get it at 30, you're talking to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to import the material just to make it to where you can get that price down. Because other than that, it's not economical. So you've got to spend a lot of money up front. Just to be able to get any kind of decent margin on it. So we're not killing it by any means.
Yep.
I wish we could get it for $5.
Right. Mike Barkus, so we also do sell VP fuel, and to give you guys some ideas, VP, the Ryan Lutz blend, I believe, is 61 or 63, and the Testman's the other one, 160, 163 on the retail side of VP fuel. So you're saving $10, $15 a gallon roughly.
Yeah.
And
it's a better product.
It's a fantastic product.
Yeah.
You run it. If you have never run it, try it. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll even if someone wants to try it, we'll let somebody.
Yeah, and if you're not running a new motor, I tell everybody it usually takes about a quart to a half gallon to strip off all the old oil that these other companies. It doesn't matter who it is. But to re-impregnate and get a good metal impregnation of our oil package usually takes about a quart to a half gallon. You'll see a lot of guys. Most guys will immediately see a huge temperature drop in their motors, and there's not much tuning difference that they have to do. They'll actually lean it out to get more temp in it. But a lot of the guys, if your motor's a little bit older, or it's just had some more time on it, you'll see a little bit of a drop where it may, a couple of tanks where it may not just be screaming, and then that the film rate will build back up, the oil package will reimpregnate, you'll get some good film on there, and you'll see your compression come back up, and then your motor's singing. But
Yeah.
most of the time people don't have that issue. It's usually they can usually switch right over.
Speaking of the JTP fuel, David Cruz Potts has some great oil, TQ Chef Metal, and Pregnation Giddy. Will Santiago, I'll take you up on that, Bob. Save me a gallon for the September race. Yeah, so we've got a big race coming up in September. We've got our Vermont Off-Road State Champs, and then after that we've got the New England Dirt Nationals. And I've been given the okay to finally release the second part of this. You guys saw Jared Tebow commenting on here. So Jared Tebow, we are announcing, is coming to the New England Dirt Nationals. And on top of that, he's going to be doing some clinics on Wednesday and Thursday of that week. So Wednesday, Thursday is going to be clinics. Friday, obviously the track will be open for open practice, and Saturday starts qualifiers, and Sunday mains. So we're going to be announcing and setting up. There's going to be, I think, about 12 spots per day to be doing the clinics, and it'll be a first come, first serve. It'll have to be paid before the clinic for those days. So if everybody's looking to get time off from work, now would be the time to be putting in the vacation request. So we'll have more information on that coming up, but we're super excited. I've been talking to Jared all week, and Jared's actually going to go live with us next Tuesday on our Tuesday Night Live. So if you guys want to save the date for next week,
make sure you get your gallon of JTP fuel, run a couple tanks through your car so you can bring it up to Jared and say, "Hey, tune this for me."
Yeah,
he loves when I do that. Go to Jared. You're running his fuel. That's one of the great things is his name's on the bottle, so you gotta
run good.
Yeah. It's got to run good. So get your fuel and bring it over to Jared if your tune's a little off, and have him run it through the paces.
So Wednesday clinic, Thursday clinic, Friday Jared will be tuning all these nitro engines.
Or during the clinic, right in the middle of the clinic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're super excited about this, guys. We've been wanting to get it confirmed before we released it, and we finally I called him today and he said let's do it. So we're super excited. So tune in for next week. Jared will be with us live. I know tonight he had some prior engagements, but he was on here for a little bit commenting, and and Jared, I mean, what a great guy he is as well. Talking with him, I mean, just down to earth, not arrogant, just a great guy. I mean, just a phenomenal guy, and talked to him a lot about the Nitro Pro product, and it's just a good product. I think it's a great fit for us to be doing this. I know we're super excited to have done this with you, Drew, and
Yeah, I mean, like he can run anything in the industry. When we partnered up with him, he was the #1 driver in the world for a couple of years. And so, he's a world champion. He's been through everything. He's been doing it forever. And so, to be able to live up to his standard, where he's the type of guy, he won't run it if he doesn't like it. So there's not a lot of people that are like that, it's very expensive to, and it's very hard to make it as a pro driver, and to be able to, finance, have the financial backing to compete at a pro level. So, a lot of these guys will circumvent, quality for a paycheck, and he is absolutely not one of them. He's never ran anything, and if he has, he's quickly changed it. So you've seen that, and we've been with him, teamed up with him for years, and any of the JTP stuff that he's coming out with, that you're not carrying, go to his website, purchase it. It's all to keep him, keep him going, and he's really inventive. So I like the fact that, I've really tried to push when, he said he was retiring. Hey, concentrate some time on JTP because he's got all of this product knowledge. And it's really hard when you're, beholden to your manufacturer, to be able to make changes a lot of the time. You might have a great product, but hey, we want to tweak this, that, and the other. So he's coming out with a lot of those products now where he feels like, hey, there's a gap that we can fill. So he's coming out with a lot of really, really good stuff. And the more we could support him doing that, even I send a lot of our customers that are like, hey, I've dealt with Jared. I'm up in the Northeast. I want to get a CT3. I'm like, hey, just if he's at your track, just buy it from him.
Yeah.
Right. So again, any of your local hobby shops, anybody who's watching this, spend your money at the people who are supporting your hobby, and that's going to be your local RC.
Yeah, we've seen that over the past year and a half of tons of tracks, not tons, but more tracks close than are opening. And everybody's like, "Wow, why do you think that is?"
The case lately.
Yeah, and we looked at purchasing or leasing a building last year, and it's like, I'll tell you why tracks are closing, because rent is $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month for a space that's half the size of like our carpet track, and you got to sell a lot of entry fees to make that rent payment, and
And not everybody is in the position that you're in to have the
right,
facility. Like, they're really, really lucky to have somebody like you that can, get the guys to tear down a whole facility, build a racetrack for a race weekend, and be able to make sense. So you've got to go to those races, and if you're selling product at them, they need to buy it from you because it's not going to be around forever. And if you can make it a viable business, then when you're ready to say, hey, I'm done here, you're going to have to do something else. We're not going to use my trucking warehouse to build a track in anymore, that it's going to be financially viable for somebody else to be able to do it. Because if there's no tracks, there's no hobby.
there's no hobby. Absolutely, that's what I say. But yeah, so like I said, we're excited. We've got most all the product in already. A few of the items are coming in. So if anybody wants to pre-order, the Epic Servo, I think is the only thing we really don't have right now.
Yeah,
Let
and if
us
you
know.
guys can run this step and you're not running the lot, you have some of these batteries.
Yep.
So go ahead and buy these out if that's not going to be a huge issue, or if you're setting up a car. All of our batteries come with leads and heat shrink in them. So you can, if you're building a car, you can already set it up for that, and it will work with the flat top batteries as well. So again, if you're not using the twist locks, I feel like that was the one where it was like, hey, all right, we'll just make this change. The performance of the battery will be no different. It will be the exact same cells. So go ahead and buy these if it's no different, so you can get them out of the inventory where we're going to warranty them. Even if we get these in the next 90 days, we'll just warranty it with the new battery if you have an issue. So don't worry about a small change like that not getting you, any iteration. If you buy a servo from us and we don't offer it anymore, we're just going to warranty it with what we offer. So don't worry about not getting a warranty because some product is discontinued.
And that goes the same, guys, as if you bought a servo direct from Drew, and for some reason you had an issue with it, you can come to us with it, and we will take care of you here as well. If you don't want to go through the hassle of talking to Drew, although he's a great guy to talk to. I think I talk to him more than anybody right now. But
Yeah.
So Well, we're excited. Does anybody have any other questions? Or I think Drew's covered quite a bit. If anybody's got any questions, ask them now. Kenny, you got anything on the Nitro Pro stuff you want to?
Well, I mean, we got that two cell there that we've kind of worked on a little bit, and we've seen some really good numbers on that. So, it's holding better voltage by 15 seconds to 7 volts than some of the leading competitors back, and I was able to get it down to 1.2 IR, like right out of the gate. So it's pretty good signs right out of the gate. So
Good.
something.
Well, I'm excited to see what you guys come up with.
Actually, there
After we
was a
get done
couple of
testing that.
questions. I think Big Cat and I see Will's asking about some 10 scale stuff right now. So what I will hint to on that is stay tuned. We're working on some things with Drew, but the 10 scale servo that is there a low pro 10 scale
Yeah.
servo? Yeah, I was gonna say I
Yeah,
think
450 ounces at 0.06 or 7. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's so Dakota's been running it for 2 years now. Maybe 2 years. I think 2 years. Chase Lemieux, Tom Rendernick, Tom had to go to ProTech with his deal with Coyote in A Main, but he was a huge help in helping develop so now like our low profile is a shorter lead on it, and those guys are next level next level with their 10 scale stuff. I know for sure our low profile, there is nothing that is, since we've come out with it, that one we've had in our arsenal the longest unchanged, because it is the perfect servo. There is nothing out there that comes close to it as far as torque and holding power. I mean, that 450 ounces of stall torque is unbelievable in a low profile. We had one of our don't do this, but our team manager ran P&B in like another race with the low profile in his 8 scale. I might have been his truck. So they're extremely capable. I don't suggest, a lot of guys have been running them in their throttle for whatever reason to save weight. To me, I think the full size is the way to go. The teeth are just smaller on the low profile, but we designed it for like short course and baby truck. That was kind of when that was really, really popular, and there wasn't a good servo that was a low profile that could handle like baby truck with 4-wheel drive with the bigger tires and those kinds of wrecks without destroying the servo. And so we just really hit it out of the park with that one, and it is a phenomenal low profile servo. You won't find anything better. Touring car.
In
whatever
our
it is.
area, baby truggy short course is very popular for some reason. What do you suggest for a servo? Let's say if somebody wanted to put it in the Techno mini truggy or short course or.
So the mini truck, I say put a full size in. So I'd never ran mini truck, but I was just looking at the needs of the market at that time. And I said, I just want to have the ultimate 10 scale servo. And that was really, really popular. So I was like, all right, let's look at our our gear pitches, what can we get that's going to be able to articulate this weight and is going to have the holding power of, some when you're running carpet or clay, that you need to have a really, really linear and strong static hold in your servo. And this was just the best that we could come up with. And it is our most reliable servo. And it is one of our best. I feel out of the line, like if you were to say in totality, like all of our servos are the best on the market, but like of what we offer, we've never really broken that far into the 10 skill market because it's just not our niche. Now that we have Dakota and Chase and some of these other top 10 skill guys in the country running our stuff, we're seeing a much bigger push. We're having companies call us like you saying, hey, can you private label us? Can you private label us a low profile servo? It is the best servo hands down for 10 skill. On a short course, I say run a full size servo. Even on the baby truck, it's just going to last longer. Again, we have so few gear changes. I would just say if it doesn't matter, if you're not really worried about the extra gram of weight, I always err towards running the full size just because the gear pitches are bigger. So they're gonna last longer. But I say that, and you're probably not going to see much of a difference running our low profile servo in either of those as far as longevity is concerned. I just err on the side of if you can run a bigger, if you can run a bigger motor, why not run a bigger motor?
Right.
But in the 10 scale, 2-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive, hands down, the LCG, we have two of them. They're both the same servo. One's got Jared's artwork on it. One's got our artwork on it. It was one of those things. It was like, why we can't make it better, and there's no reason to make it different. So Jared wanted a low profile servo. We're just like, all right, we're just going to change the artwork on it.
David Cruz just asked a question. I was just thinking this too. So if I'm getting an 8-scale nitro car and I want the Epic on my steering, what should I be using for my throttle? Do I need to buy? Should I be buying 2 Epics, or can I go down to maybe 600 or the 700?
So I always say, if you can afford it, run what you're running in your steering for your throttle. And the reason I say that is because the likelihood that, if you have enough money for backups, you can run whatever you want. If you're going to be in a situation where hey, these are the 2 servos that I can afford, and I don't have money for a backup, and you can afford 2 Epics, I would say run 2 Epics, because anything can run. Somebody at the track will have a servo, a Savox, something that they pulled out of their car. Anything can run your throttle. But when you get used to our servo for your steering, where it really shines, you're going to be able to take that out of your throttle and put it in your steering. And then you can, and you're not going to really tell any kind of difference. That's going to be that it's going to be harder to not drive your car with a shitty steering servo. Right? Like that's really going to make a difference. If you've got you need 200 ounces at best in your for your braking.
Right.
And you can get anything that can fill that need, but you're really going to be hurting trying to take an inferior servo and move it to your steering. So I just always say, yeah, but at the very least, even if you're running our 500 fast, if you can afford an Epic or a Pro and you need to step it down due to finances, any of our 8 scale is going to be fine to get you through the race. But in a perfect world, if you can't afford a backup, I say just run the same servo front and rear. ProTech did that speed torque thing. They're no different. It's literally that difference is in programming. So we don't really play that game. Like, one servo might have more torque and one servo might have more speed, and they charge a different price for it. It costs the exact same to make both of those servos.
Yeah.
Right. That
Always-
is all in the gearing in the programming. Most of the time, most of the time when they're that close, it's just the programming. The gear ratios change between our 500, our 550, and our 700. And then our new servo will have a different gear set. But generally, when you're within, 50 ounces, it's just going to be in the programming. Like our servos actually run at 90, 85 to 90%. They're not 100%. They're not 100% torque or 100% speed out of the box. So whatever's on that box, there's a probably 10 to 15% buffer that they're detuned for, not burning them up.
Safety factors.
Safety. Yeah.
Chris Eldridge bought my first Nitro Pro servos this weekend. I'll have my Savox stuff up
Yay.
for sale. Yeah, so Chris was one of the ones we converted him. I think he ended up buying 2 this weekend.
Good.
He was super pumped. So Chris, thank you, and he was super happy with him. He put him in right away, and he come over with a car and he's showing me, kept
Yeah.
turning the thing.
Yeah.
And like our 2 logos, every time you swipe the thing, you could see the logos on the servo. So
That's awesome,
was
man. It's
super
exciting stuff. I love to hear people having a good time and and again, for all your customers, break our stuff. We want people out there trying to put it through its paces. These things don't last forever, and the more they break, the better feedback we'll get. And we look at every failure, so it's just good data to have. But know that when you break them, we're gonna stand behind you and make sure you can keep racing and not have to go into your pocketbook again.
yeah, absolutely. Well, Drew, I don't have. Does anybody else have any more questions? It doesn't. It looks like we've answered most all of them that I can see. There's a whole list of them, but
Yeah, it looks like they all get answered.
Good.
so we appreciate you coming on, Drew, and spending time with us. And
Thanks.
Yeah.
thank you for that. And
No,
and
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
I appreciate the opportunity in the business for sure, and I hope we can make many more servos together and some really cool products that your customers will enjoy, and we can elevate where other people are kind of stagnant.
I agree. Well said. Thank you again, Drew.
All right, thanks guys. Talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.
That was good, man. He's such a great guy. Like I said, I get on the phone with him every time, and I could listen to him talk technical stuff and bounce ideas off one another. And got some Mike Barkas gave me some feedback, and I called him. Actually, you and I talked about it, and then we called him, and we were coming up with a solution already. So with the
That's
battery
awesome.
step down. So that was good. So yeah. So we'll try to make it quick for the rest of the stuff, just because we are at an hour and a half. I feel like we just get on here, but it's been an hour and a half.
Yeah,
So.
went quick.
Yeah.
I know it's
So-
dark behind me now. It was light when we started.
I'm getting eaten alive. I'm over here with a bug spray, and every time you guys don't see this, but I'm misting. I don't know if you see that. I kept doing that the whole time. Freaking getting eaten alive over here. So, but no, we had a great weekend at the Point Series. It was really good for me. It was a weekend that I was able to kind of relax and hang out with people. And Kenny, you and I spent hours under the tent there, just wrenching on cars, and I don't get to do that very often. And it was nice.
Yeah,
And
it's good.
then Saturday night we were all camping out here, and we all ate dinner together. It was a really good weekend. So thank you guys for coming out for the Point Series. We did post the Point Series standings as of now. We'll update them as they come out. But you and I, TQ Chef, happy to see all this coming together, Bob. Yeah, TQ, thank you, man. I've been wanting to get this out quickly, and Drew kept telling me, let's wait. We need to get some product in, and most of it's here or in transit. So we're gonna be coming out with a whole bunch of stuff. So stay tuned with that. And then the Jared Tebow thing, that's going to be fantastic. I'm
Yeah, that's
super
huge.
pumped about that. And we got some more surprises coming for you guys, but we gotta wait a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. So, yeah, thank you, TQ. We're trying, man. We're trying to put on some stuff for the racers, and make RC fun, right? We see a lot of people come through that hobby shop in during the week, and I listen to these stories, and no one has to answer this, but all you think about, what does RC mean to you? Like, I feel like RC has helped a lot of people through some down times in their life, and and it's probably more than you think. And I think it's just good to make it fun for everybody, and yeah, make it fun for everybody, right? Something you enjoy, and therapy. Yeah, there you go, TQ, for sure. So think about that. I mean,
every time, and
yeah, people do this because maybe it helped them through something. They enjoy doing it. Family. I know I really enjoy being able to spend time with my wife and Mason and Bobby occasionally, and it's good for me. And I mean, we've done some pretty amazing things, Kenny, in such a short amount of time, and it's almost not work for me. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, "Man, you spend a lot of time doing this." I'm like, it's like a breath of fresh air for me, because I got so much going on. This is my happy place.
yeah.
So, but this tomorrow, you and I are out of here. We're leaving. And Mason's coming too, and Anders,
Yeah,
Enzo.
yeah. Enzo is going to come. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, Enzo, I think is working, but I think he's gonna be there. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we're super excited. I'm pumped up. Trailer's loaded. I think we got everything. I hope. And you and I are gonna drive the freight train up to Canada.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
Alicia's coming too. Yes, honey. I'm sorry. She's waving, sticking her hand up on the comments, like hello.
Is she coming right up, or is she gonna stick around till Friday, like she said she might?
Hope you froze up. Is that me or you?
Yeah, I think it was both of us.
Yeah. And then for the first 2 events going on this week, and we were fortunate enough to have Bill Segoo, Chad Cullinan, and Bob Robichaud. They're gonna hang back. They're taking the other DPRC trailer, the Colonial Rally School. If you guys didn't watch our video on the Rally Fest that's coming up, scroll down in the feed and check that out, man. It's a ton of fun at that place. They got a lot of cool things that you don't get to do everywhere. Riding a rally car. I think they may have helicopter rides. They got stuff for the kids. We're going to be there with the RC cars, not us, but they're going to be there with the RC cars. They're going to have a drift track set up, a little short course track. I think they're going to have some of the oval cars and whatnot there. So a ton of fun happening this weekend, Saturday from 9 to 3 at Team O'Neill Rally School. So look it up on our Facebook page and make it out to that. If not, we hope to see all of you up at the Quebec Classic. We did get our, I don't know if you can see it now, it's so dark out.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today. That's awesome.
But for carpet season, we did the New Hampshire Off-Road Carpet Champs, which we're going to be holding again this year. And every first place A-main driver got their name etched on the cup, and it'll be there forever. So same thing with the off-road. We're going to have the Vermont Off-Road Champs Cup, Perpetual Cup, and if you're the A-main first place winner, your name will get etched on the cup, and it'll stay here forever. And every year we'll continue to do that as a tradition. So we got a few weeks till that race, and we're going to do some track changes. We're going to tear down the mountain. The mountain's coming out.
Yeah, right. We're going to have qualifiers on Saturday too, which is something that.
Yeah, a lot of racers asked for that. It's easy for Kenny and I and a lot of locals, but we know that we've gotten a huge amount of support from all over different states, and it's tough to come up here on a weekend and then not get home until midnight, or later. So for every trophy event from this point forward, Saturday, we're going to do 2 qualifiers. It'll be practice all day, and then we'll do 2 qualifiers. I think last time we started at 1 or 2.
Yeah, we'll shoot for 1 o'clock and see how it goes as far as the
Yeah, I think
Everybody
last time we
showing up.
started at 1 and we were done still before dark, were we not?
We were.
Yeah, so maybe we
We
can push it
ended
back.
up running that extra round too that afternoon.
That's
so-
right, we did an extra race. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what we're going to do from this point forward. 2 qualifiers on Saturday. We will have a last chance qualifier on Sunday. So if for some reason you're working or can't make it, Kenny wants a last chance qualifier, and then we'll do the mains right after that. So we should have you wrapped up, I'd say, by 5 o'clock
Yeah,
at the latest, probably.
yeah, by the latest.
So yeah, so we're pretty excited. Big changes, and next week, Jared Tebow going live with us, Kenny.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome.
Pretty
It's
pumped.
cool to see him pop on tonight. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I saw him as soon as he did. I was like, oh, I read it. I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. He texted me. He says, I just saw your post. He says, am I coming on tonight or next Tuesday? I'm like, next Tuesday. Drew's tonight. He's like, okay. So, got to bounce, but can't wait for September race. Thanks, Bob, and the DPRC facility to race. Yeah. So we'll let you guys go. It's been an hour and a half. Les, Kenny, you got anything you want to bring up or talk about?
No, I'm good. We've taken up enough of everybody's time. Thank everybody so much for coming out tonight and listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend, and good luck for anybody racing. And if you're up in Quebec, we'll see you there. If you got
Yes,
nothing
see ya.
going on, head over to Team O'Neill Rally School.
See you soon.
Take care, guys.